Welcome back to Teaching Orchestra. Today we're going to talk about the seated posture for playing the violin. And you can think of this in two ways. You can think of it as if sitting down is more of a challenge when you play, or you can think that sitting in a chair adds to the accountability for your bow. Because if you're not sitting right, the bow's going to be doing some strange things. So whichever mindset you prefer to think, I prefer to think in the growth mindset. So we have the opportunity now to have the accountability to learn how to play on the E string correctly. So in a lot of beginner classes, they all sit in rows facing the teacher, and that's a good thing because the teacher's able to get to the students and access them when they're sharing stands and they're sitting in the orchestral semicircles or arcs or whatever. It's harder to get to students, so it's good for the beginner setup. However, it can create problems with their setup in the chair. If they're facing straight forward, that can create some issues. And so we want to be able to eliminate that either by repositioning the chairs or repositioning our students. So just like when we're standing up, when we're sitting down, we have our left foot and our right foot that should be guidelines. So the left foot should always be pointed at whichever direction you want your F-holes to face, or your scroll to face. And your right foot should be pointed at whatever position you want the F-holes to face. So if the audience is over here, you want your F-holes pointed this way. You need to rotate that effectively, and that angle should be about 45 degrees, not 90 degrees, and definitely not over 90 degrees. This is not a ballet class. So we want usually the left foot to be pointed at our music, right foot pointed at the audience. So if the chair and stands are right in front of them, we need the right foot pointed this way, and we need the left foot pointed somewhere over here. Well, that can be difficult sometimes because of the chair leg, and it can also be difficult because sometimes they put their instrument cases over here on this side of the chair, and what are they going to have, a footstool, or what's going on with that? I don't know. But it's important to have the same foot position seated as we have standing. The other alternative to this is that we push our legs back to get the knee out of the way so that it doesn't change our bowing path. Because as we're going to demonstrate in a second, if we're sitting in the wrong way, we're going to run into the chair or our leg with the bow. Okay, so let's sit incorrectly, face forward, both feet facing front. Okay, and we're just going to do a down bow on the E string, frog to tip, and see what happens. Ready, go. Okay, so either we have to rotate the body this way, run into the leg, curve around the leg, or do something that shouldn't be done in the first place. So to fix this issue, we just rotate 45 degrees, and now we bow frog to tip. Good, much less of an issue, Okay, so if we can't rotate our players this way for some reason, we want them to, and think about it, like their eyes, their necks, their music, and maybe you as the teacher are all going to be in the same line of sight. So maybe it's this way. If you for some reason can't keep the students facing the same direction, I know for right now, because of the health crisis that's going on, our students are required to face the same direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the chairs 45 degrees this way, so that the students are still facing the same way, but now they're scrolling facing over here, and we're going to have to put their music stands over here as well, so that they're still facing forward per our health guidelines. All the students in the classroom are still facing the same direction, but now they don't have the issue of running into the chair. Now, we also want to make sure they're sitting far enough on the front of the chair, even in this position. If they're sitting where their back is touching the back of the chair, they could still possibly hit the chair with the screw on the bow, so we don't want that either. Last thing I want to talk about in this video is how the body moves differently on the E string than it does on the other strings because of the bowing angle. And so when we shift our weight with the other strings, we usually shift our weight against the grain of the bow, against the direction of the bow. With the E string, we're trying to teach most students to keep the weight in the hand, and we don't really need that extra weight as much. And so sometimes what we need help with is on the shoulder extension and like in the upper parts of the bow and the lower parts of the bow, getting those to respond. So right now we're going to demonstrate, especially if you have students with tiny little arms and great big bows or whatever, maybe they didn't get the fractional sized bows, how they can access all parts of the bow on the E string by getting the shoulder extension and being able to rise the chest up and maybe do a little crunch as we get to the tip. So we're going to demonstrate that right now at the frog. So the shoulder's extending forward, we've got a little crunch, we're going to bow all the way to the tip. We bow, the chest rises up, and the shoulder extends and comes forward. We come back down, we crunch, and then we come back up. Good, and come back down. Okay. Now for the other strings, the students are going to be real used to this back and forth motion and getting them to keep their hips square and come down this way to come up, come down, come up without rotating the shoulders or without tilting side to side. Sometimes that's going to take some work as well. You can use some accountability exercises for that to get the students to watch each other and make sure they're moving correctly. And they'll learn from other people's mistakes. They'll learn when other people are doing it correctly because they know what to look for, and that's going to affect their ability to be able to play and make a great sound on the E string. So thank you for watching this video series on the E string. I hope your orchestra improves their E string tone.